For about as long as I've known about this place, I've wanted to go here. This is Meow Wolf's Omega Mart in Las Vegas. Meow Wolf is an artist collective, and this particular area is called Area 15. It's located in Las Vegas, and it's actually home to quite a few attractions. There's something so average and weird about your normal grocery store. They're pillars of necessary consumerism that we all have to go to. When you begin to examine the cracks in the mundane, that's when you notice that something's kind of off. This store is filled with unusual but charming products. Take a drink of this prickly pear soda. You can take a bite out of this tattooed chicken pillow. This whole place just reminded me of a mixture of a bunch of things I like. As a kid, I really liked the show Erie, Indiana, or really late night programming like Too Many Cooks from Adult Swim. As I looked closer and closer, I began to realize that this grocery store was just the facade. There is something a little bit deeper, something maybe a bit sinister going on here. Now here's the funny part. I actually thought all these flashing lights and these announcements were actually a part of the immersive experience, but I was wrong. There was actually a fire somewhere inside of this, and we all had to vacate the premises. I'm not gonna lie, that was a little disappointing, but I was also a little tired, so I used this opportunity to get myself a boba. This was a very interesting day for me in Vegas. I actually arrived very early, and I did stuff all day, and it was the only day I actually had to go to this exhibit. Everybody got back in line, and while I was waiting, I checked out the Mike Tyson-Paul Rudd fight. Easy peasy lemon squeezy, we all got back in. Anyways, back to the show. This place was filled with weird things. Check these out. They kind of remind me of something from like Horizon Zero Dawn. Everything was a visual joke that gave me a sense of hilarity and anxiety. Most of these items you can purchase if you want to, but some of these items aren't purchasable at all. They're just little art pieces that are stuck to the wall. I eventually noticed that there were entrances and exits to different parts of the store that were much deeper and much weirder than originally thought. I don't want to spoil too much of the experience for you, but there's lore upon lore upon lore. This thing has many different layers, and there's so many things going on that's really hard to describe what is going on. There's lots of stairs and tunnels and different places to go in and out of. The cynical part of me was a little worried that this was just an influencer's paradise, a place to just take selfies all over the place. But the longer I was there, the more I realized this was much closer to modern art and had more in common with like Portal 2 or Burning Man or something. I think constantly re-examining modern and pop art's place in the greater scheme of things is a healthy thing to do. For me, there was just so much care put into the layers of Easter eggs details throughout the space. I mean, they could have just phoned it in at the bathroom, but instead it looked like a Keith Haring or Mr. Doodle piece. Now, there's one big thing I totally missed out on, mainly because I just didn't know about it. There are things called Omega Access cards, or boop cards, that you boop things all throughout the exhibit. I was there by myself experiencing this for the first time, so I didn't even know about these and I just never got one. Did I see a bunch of stuff that I really liked? Absolutely. But there's a whole layer of lore that I just totally missed out on. This thing is so cram-packed with things to see that you don't absolutely need it, but it would have just been neat. I also kind of think this is something that would be even better experienced with another person. It's just kind of fun to point at things and say, hey, look at that thing, what do you think of it? But to be frank, I'm not really mad about any of that because I probably would have gone back here anyways, but you know, going back with another person or going back with the boop thing is just additional incentive to go back and see more stuff. I can't really give you additional information about the things you're seeing. One, because I don't want to spoil anything, and two, because I lacked context as well. This place is like an escape room in a modern art museum. They recommend that you give yourself somewhere between 1 to 2 hours to look at everything, but I really think you could give yourself even more time because there's just so much to do and look at. This place felt like it was made out of obtainium, a mood board for the occult, drawing on the fine line between scary and fun, a place you could go with a date or your kids, or with a group of friends. It all had a sense of familiarity because it had so many references that you just couldn't quite put your finger on. It all felt like that dream you wake up from but really want to remember but just can't. I ended up going to this place alone, which is something I do a lot when I go on these little trips for content creation or work. I was surrounded by so much external stimulation in my thoughts. It was kind of nice to just sit there and organize my thoughts for a while. Kind of like listening to a podcast while you're doing the dishes or something. To be fair, I'm not entirely sure if my descriptions of this place will give you a better understanding of what this place really is, but I'll definitely say it's worth your time while you're in Vegas. I feel like a lot of Vegas trips end up burning people out. I feel like sometimes there's this expectation that, hey, I'm going to Vegas, I'm going to do something really rowdy while I'm there. And there is nothing wrong with being and getting rowdy every once in a while. Going into full anecdote mode, when I was 21, I actually went out to Vegas with a bachelor party. It was a ton of fun, but really what made the pacing good on that trip was that 1, I went to Cirque du Soleil, and 2, I went to the Bodies exhibit. So you just always got to make sure that you plan things on these trips that aren't just being rowdy. It's like a vacation in your vacation from your vacation. There's no guided tour here. You can spend as much time or as little time as you'd like. If you're a person that likes puzzles, you can solve the puzzles. You can try to understand more about what's going on here. Or you can just chill out and have fun. Touch things. Let the weirdness wash over you. I always felt like I unlocked an Easter egg whenever I understood a reference to something. This little music making beat pad is actually called a MIDI fighter, and it's made by a guy named DJ Tech Tools. I know this because he's really into controllerism. It's basically a type of DJing that doesn't require any discs or jockeying. It's just pressing buttons, playing music, modifying the music using buttons, and that sort of thing. It's really fun. This little added element of a visualizer is also pretty cool. It's funny to me because when I was in college I used to mess around with things like this a lot. There might be an alternate reality Paul out there that spent less time making content and spent more time creating art. It's kind of overwhelming sometimes to see something this neat and well put together. I once had a friend that was an actress, and I always wondered if she liked going to see other people act, and she hated it. It's because she wished she was acting instead and not watching other people act. I never really understood that, but maybe I'm beginning to understand it now. What the Meow Wolf team has managed to put together here is really neat. It makes me really want to push myself creatively so that I can create things that are neat too. After being here for quite a while, I decided to take one more look at all the cool stuff that they had in the grocery store area. I found it funny that they put price shock on some of these stickers here. If I think of these things as kitschy souvenirs, then yeah, that's pretty darn expensive. But I'm almost certain that if I were at the MoMA and they had things that were modern pieces of art that were on sale for about these prices, I probably wouldn't blink twice. And frankly, all this stuff is really cool. I mean, dolphin nuts? Yeah, they're cashews, but yeah, they kind of do look like dolphins. And it's kind of funny and rare that I'm at a store where liquid death is the most normal thing on the shelf. I actually almost got this hat, but my head was way too big. I wasn't 100% sure I'd be really into this, but I gotta say 100% this thing was awesome. There's really a something for everyone type of deal going on here, and if you're in the area, you should definitely think about it. If you're heading to Vegas, put Omega Mart at the top of your list. And hey, if you've already been, let me know in the comments what your favorite room or product was. I'm dying to hear what you discovered. Also, at the same time, I did a whole bunch of other things in Vegas, so if you want to check those out, check them out.